Okay, guys, so before I actually get started, I just want to let you know that you guys can skip this segment right now by going to the timestamp where you actually get started on the tutorial. I just want to go into the intro talking about some stuff. Yes, I understand that it's been over a year since I made the first video. Also, the fact that I have a new mic. This mic is part of a headset. I still have the old microphone here. It's just not working for some reason. So that's that. Um uh, if you haven't watched the first video, please do, because without it, you will not know how to get to the point that we are right now. Even though it's very simple and you can just go to the first quarter of it and you'll kind of understand it. Hey guys, so I made a lot of mistakes during my first recording of this, but now that I got it all figured out, I can teach you guys how to make sprites. And in Rivals of Aether. Like this. I mean, it's not anything crazy, but as you can see, it works. And then and we'll do some further changes and probably mess with how it works, how it looks to make sure it looks better. But yeah, this is kind of gonna be kind of like the result of it. First off, what you're gonna want to do is go to your file explorer, go up here to the search bar, press percent app data percent, and you're going to go back to app data. You go to local, go to Rivals of Aether, which should be right here. Then you're going to press workshop, which is the folder you made last video, and actually you should know all of this from last video. And then here it is. We're going to continue working on our mod. We're actually going to start, or not mod, our character. So let's go to sprites, because this is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing sprites. And if you watched the last video, then you probably know how to do this already. However, I will show you anyway what sprites are and how they work. Well, I already changed the walk sprite for this right here. And I'll show you. And I'm going to be using Photop as the editing software in this. You can just kind of search it up here. You can just go Photop, and then it'll open up. Basically, though, the way so the problem with this thing that you downloaded from last video is the fact that it has a full phone uh, power, which I'll go over in a future tutorial. But basically, this is what will happen if you taunt in the practice mode of the game. So just don't worry about it. Uh, all of this shouldn't be worried about at all, and just kind of ignored if anything. This, however, all of this and these two is what your actual character is going to look like. So to start off, you're going to look for the sprite you want to change. I think for the first one, besides walk, which I already did, for the first one, we should do. How about a here? I'll start off simply, and then I'll go on further. I'll get harder as we go. Let's start off with something easy like getting hurt right here. So this is hurt. You're gonna look for it, and hurt. So you don't want to change anything about the name besides the number. The number shows you how many sprites is inside the animation. For instance, this one that is the idle has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This walk that has 4 says it says strip 4. It says 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the amount of the amount of sprites. For single animation, like single sprite animations, we're gonna have stuff like hurt, waveland, jumpstart, land, all that stuff. Are gonna have 1, strip 1. So that's why I'm gonna do it first, because it's easy. Now, drag and drop it into the software you're gonna use. Photoshop if you have the money. I'm using Photop because I do not have the money. This is the character. For a single sprite animation, it's very easy. You just drag and drop the character in, and that's it. That's literally all you have to do. So here's the thing: is that if you made the sprites yourself, uh, convert it into an image, so then you can be doing the same thing that I'm doing right now with sprites that I did not make. Credits to this guy right here who made the thing, who got these sprites out. But I'm going to be using a Beetlejuice sprite sheet from the Game Boy game. Uh, you can look for right here. Yeah, hurt. So thankfully this is also one sprite, but if it was something more, you would have to probably choose one of the sprites to um, put it in here. Because truthfully, one sprite for getting hurt is enough. You don't need any more. So what you're gonna do is, if you are using a sprite sheet that you didn't make, like I am, you're going to find the sprite, and then you're gonna go over it with the rectangle tool, Control C, Control V over here, and now you have it. If you made the sprites yourself, make sure they're in an image like this, like I said earlier, and then find the part that you made the hurt sprite. First, let's take away the background. Let's focus on the background. So taking away the background, you can use something like the magic wand, and clicking on the back, you'll get the blue, and press backspace to take away it. The H here, we can just kind of get rid of with the rectangle tool. Let me press the eyes right on the right to get rid of, or not get rid of, but just to not see them. They're still there. You just don't see them. So you can see that there's some. Oh, you can see here that there are some spots like these two spots that need to be taken away, like that, with the magic wand tool and backspace. There we go. You're gonna notice how Beetlejuice is very small compared to this man, this blocky man. What you're going to do is size them up to the size that you want them to be, because truthfully, this guy should be your reference. The blocky guy should be your reference on how big a character is and how big your character is. There is the option to just change the scale later on. I don't recommend this though, because I think it adds a whole nother layer of work to it. So if your character has a lot of pixels, it's going to be harder to kind of make it smaller, but it's still doable. Um, Make sure that when you're doing this, when you change the size of a pixelated sprite to be bigger, you go to Edit, Free Transformation, and up here it's going to say, I think, whatever that word is. You're going to press Nearest Neighbor instead, because if you do this and make it bigger, it's going to get blurry. Nobody wants blurry. People want pixelated. So when you go up here, you're going to go press Nearest Neighbor. And then make sure you choose an even number that still keeps the right ratio of your pixels. So if I did 150, it's not going to look right. Some pixels are going to look bigger than others. But if I do 200, for example, that basically means it's double the size. It'll be around this tall. You'll notice immediately that Beetlejuice fits right in here. The highest height that he goes is the same as the box guy, and the lowest this goes is the box guy. Notice though is that Beetlejuice is not as wide as the box guy, so that's where this comes into play, where you're gonna just kind of delete the box guy's layer, and then you're gonna go to the crop tool, and you're gonna bring it to where it hits his foot exactly, where there's no other pixel being shown. And that's what I was going to talk about with the height, is how if the character was taller, you'd have to bring it up to how tall the character was. And if the character was shorter, you'd have to bring it down to how short it was. And there you go. You press the check mark. And depending on your browser, you can just press File, Save right here. Mine does not say that though. So what you're going to do is go to Export As, PNG. Don't change any of this, and press Save. And it's going to show up here. And make sure that you have your file, your this place open on your file explorer. You're going to go to the download, and you're going to bring this over to the file and drag and drop it, and replace in file replace the file, and it's in the destination. God, I can't talk. Then you're going to press it, and there you go. That's another sprite done. So that was a hurt sprite, and that was one sprite. Pretty easy. Let's go on to something more complex, like one that has multiple sprites within it. For example, idle. The idle has five sprites for the animation. Let's click on it, drag it over to Photopea or Photoshop, and you can get rid of this old one. You don't need to worry about it anymore. Right here, idle. You'll notice, like I said from earlier, is that this has five sprites right here, and it is the idle strip. So on default, it's going to have five sprites. However, the sprite that you're going to be importing into this, whether it's something you made or something you didn't make, will probably have to change the amount of sprites used in this, which I will go over. But first, let me go to to the Beetlejuice over here, the Beetlejuice sprite sheet, and see if he has an idle. So obviously, since it's a Game Boy, it's the sprites, he doesn't really have an idle animation. It's just kind of one image. So this makes my job easier, but for you guys, not so much. Oh, right here. This is idle and walking. So in the Game Boy, in the game itself, he stops on whichever sprite he was on last. So this is going to be kind of weird for me. Man, I'm using a really bad example, but whatever. I'll still show you guys how to do this. Let's act as if this idle was his walk. It's not. It's not. You're going to grab the entire animation right here with your rectangle tool, Control C, Control V, just like last time. Make sure you get rid of the background with the magic wand tool, just like last time. And the little extra spaces right here too. And while these are all together, go to Edit, Free Transformation, 200. Oh, right. So if you change that hurt sprite and it was a certain number that you used to make it as big as it was, do that for every single sprite from here on forward. You do not change the amount. You don't go, this time I'm going to do 300 and see if it looks good. No, no, no. You're going to do the same exact thing you did last time. So for me, it was 200, so I'm going to do 200 again. Percent. There we go. Checkmark, confirm. So you're going to notice, well, now I have four sprites, not one. And they're all on the same layer, and I want to move each one. Some people like to go rectangle tool, move, move, but I don't like to do that. It makes it too hard. This makes it easier, but is also a little bit more complex. You're gonna go rectangle over the rest of the sprites that you haven't done, or leave one out. Control C, backspace, Control V. Now they're on their new other layer, completely different from the other one. You're gonna go to these two, Control C, backspace, Control V. And then for the last one, Control C, backspace, Control V. Now you got ones for each layer. Good. So you're going to bring this one. You're going to bring this one first to the very. I just realized I made a bad decision. Make sure the entire sprite sheet is fit into the box, because if it's not, you're going to notice how this gets chopped off, and that's not good. It's pretty easy fix. It's just annoying. Make sure you have these all selected now. You can press Shift to select more. We'll hold it down. Move it all down one. Now they're all together, but the little hat parts aren't. Just press Control C, backspace Control V, and you can now merge the two that you messed up together. I am not doing a good job at showing explanations. Yeah, now they're all together. So now what you're going to do is you're going to bring this first one with the move tool back all the way to the wall. All the way. Now, if your sprite was taller than this first sprite, you're going to make the entire canvas taller or shorter with the crop tool. You do not need to make it any wider for now. Next, you're going to bring this and make sure it is placed at the right place where the animation would continue naturally. So, Beetlejuice's head stays the same for his walk animation, but what if yours doesn't? And what if the walk goes deeper? Well then, you're going to have to adjust this to make sure it looks just right. Um, Essentially what you're gonna try and do is get all the sprites to be on top of each other, different layers, but on top of each other, and in the right placement to where they would be in the normal animation. You're not gonna keep it this way. Don't worry. Um, Thankfully, Beetlejuice. So if you have an easy sprite like mine, you can go, oh, Beetlejuice's head stays the same for each one, so we can just kind of move that into the right place. Make sure, but do this no matter what you do. There we go. Now that it's done like this, what you can move on to is the step where you move these out into making a sprite sheet. You're going to look for the widest sprite here. So let's see. This one, it ends right here, which is, as you can see with the rectangle tool, 32 pixels wide. Right here, this one ends 36 pixels. So this is the widest one yet. This one is shorter, 32 again. And this one is 40 pixels. This is the widest one. This is going to be your canvas. Okay, this is going to be like, this is going to be the sprite maximum width. Keep this in mind and don't screw it up. Now you're going to look for the tallest sprite. In this case, I don't need to look for that because they're all the same height. And I've already put them in the right place. But you're going to change the canvas to be the maximum height of whichever sprite has the highest point it gets to. So right now, I'm going to use the rectangle tool. See how much? This is 40 pixels. You're going to make the next sprite on the next layer go directly against directly 40 pixels away from the wall. So that would be right here. See? And make sure they're not overlapping. And maybe sometimes your character doesn't start on the widest sprite or the tallest sprite there is. Maybe it has it later on. That doesn't matter. You're going to have to make sure this is all precisely and well done. I'm going to be honest, sprites are probably like the hardest thing. So if you guys have any questions, please don't be scared to ask me. I may not answer immediately, but I will try to answer as soon as I can. And maybe I'll make another video explaining the problems and trying to fix them. Anyway, you're going to see that this guy, starting from the back of his sprite, or whichever part is the widest on the left side, will go up to 40. So you're going to go to 40 right here. And knowing that this is the part, this exact line right here, it's really hard to see, but that line right there, you're going to get the next sprite and move it to where it starts right, or where it goes right against it. This isn't the case for everyone. What if the head is slightly to the right? Well, then you're going to have to figure that out. And it's not fun. The sprites are not fun to do. It's fun to see them come to life, but it's not fun to actually make it because of this and how sprites can be very much inconsistent a lot of the time, and you're going to have to make sure you got it down. And then the last one right here is going to be, oh wait, hold on. Make sure it's 40 pixels away. Right there. Then move this over here. There you go, you're done, basically. And then you're going to go to the rectangle tool. You're going to select 40 pixels from the back of this guy. Press the crop tool and drag the left part all the way to the back. And there you go. Now you got your sprite done. Obviously, if there were more sprites you had, like not so this one says 5, since this was less, I would change the number in the file explorer. Once I'm done making it, of course, I would have to go here and change that to 4 and not 5. Uh, Reminder though that Beetlejuice, he only has one idle sprite, so I'm going to have to look here and see which one I want to pick. But either way, what you're going to do is file, export as PNG, save, and then up here it's going to show up. You're going to drag and drop it right into here, and then you got the sprite done. I'm going to do the same thing, but obviously Beetlejuice has one idle sprite, so I am going to pick the one that I like best and then do that. So when I drag and drop it into here, replace the file in the destination, look, idle strip 5, but there's only one sprite, or in your case, it might be 8 or 10 or 20,500. What you're going to do is just go right here, right click, press rename, or maybe you could show it up here, which I like to use more. Either way, you're going to change nothing else except the number to be the number of sprites that you had. Mine in this case is 1. Now you can test it inside the game. Let's see. Alright, local, practice, make sure that the workshop mode is on and the change rules. And there we go. Yeah, his idle. Oh, hold on. Yeah, his idle and his walk sprite are done, and it looks fantabulous. Oh my god, it looks amazing. Now, I also did the hurt sprite, and I'm sure you guys did too if you were following me 1-to-1. So let me just bring another fighter in here. And then, of course, the guy's not going to try and hurt you at all, so maybe the hurt animation won't show up. Actually, you press enter. So you can do CPU action. Fight. Now he's going to try and fight me. Oh no. My hurt animation is working though, so that's what... So, there we go. There we go. It shows up perfectly. You are going to notice that the 59%, or like the damage icon, is a little bit off-centered. We'll change that later in another tutorial, but for now this is about it. So now you're probably wondering, oh, but I want to do his actual attacks. So yes, I will go ahead and talk about his other attacks. But let me beat him up first. I'm really bad at this game. Boom shakalaka. Alright, okay, hold on. Alright, actual attacks is where it gets kinda tricky. So actually changing the attacks in the code is its own whole can of worms that I will get into in another video. For now though, like I said, we're only doing the sprites, so I will just be talking about the sprites of doing one. One that you don't like, one that you can just change the sprites of, and you know, and you know, just kind of worry about that. It would be the jab. You're gonna go and find this. You're gonna find that there's a hurt strip and just a strip. The hurt strip you don't need to worry about right now, but the normal strip is what you will worry about. So here it is. Obviously, I'm going to change this later, but I'm gonna just kind of draw to kind of show this better, I guess. I'm gonna draw a stickman to kind of represent how to do the fighting animation. Do the tutorial that I just showed you guys a second ago. So obviously I'm gonna change this later. This is not the final product at all, but just for the sake of teaching you guys, I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to make my own sprites right here and now. It's not going to look good at all, trust me, but it's going to be whatever. So, but you're going to do the same thing that you've done before with the sprites because that's how you do it with every sprite. after you export it, not JPEG, it's not, it's JPG, do PNG. You're going to bring it back in here. Drop it, replace the file. There's the jab, but the jab hurt is here. This is where it gets kind of weird. You're going to bring it over to Photopea, keep the original jab up, and you're going to copy and paste it into here. And you're going to notice that the only difference between the two sprites is the fact that it's green. Why are you green? Anyway, you're going to get the exact same hue by using the, oh right, you can go to the color toolbar down here, click on it, and then you can click without clicking any of the stuff on here, but click the color, then it'll automatically pick it. You can press OK. There you go. Now you got your color. Since I'm on Photopea, I don't know how this works in Photoshop. It should be similar. But you go right-click on the layer that you made, not the original. Press Blending Options, Color Overlay, and change this color that's black into the color that you just picked, which is down here. Or right here. The color that right here. So press OK. Press OK. Take away the back layer, and then press File, Export PNG. Bring it over to the File Explorer. Replace the file in the destination, and there you go. Now you got your attack done. But what's this? You don't think it has the right hitbox? You don't think it's the right thing at all? Well, that's where it gets really complicated, if you thought it wasn't complicated enough. Hey, so this is future me here. I'm editing the video right now. This segment that I'm about to cut out, or no, not cut out. You can see it in the background. It's sped up. Basically, what I'm doing is changing the hitbox and hurtbox placement, like where their origin is, which could be a problem that you could be facing already with just the sprites alone and not really just the attack sprites. So I'm so sorry if they aren't turning out right and I'm not going to go over it. It's just because this segment here doesn't really cover it as well as I wish it could. So it will be on the next video, I promise. When I have a bigger plan, when I have a better plan to kind of tell how it all works. That's about it in terms of that whole thing. Also, this video is getting really long, so I want to cut out this segment just to make it shorter. So I want this video to only be about the sprites and nothing else. So I'm doing you guys a favor by taking out the very complex little bit of coding and a lot of weird stuff. So there you go. But yeah, that's about it. So yeah. I know this video is probably very complex for a lot of you, for a lot of people who haven't done coding or anything like this, or anything like this in their life before. My job here isn't to make it extremely easy for you, but rather to kind of give you an overview of how to understand it. I'm basically teaching you the language. I'm not teaching you how to speak. I'm teaching you the translation of everything. So hopefully it works out fine. And yeah, that's about it. I don't know when the next video is going to come out. Hopefully not a year from now, and hopefully it's going to be in like less than a month. I doubt that it will, but I hope it'll come out. I'll be able to make it soon. For now, you can just kind of watch me play as a character that I made, which I'll put in the link in the description, which is Jack Skellington. And I'll be going against someone else.